Hey, it's Angela from the blog Angela Marie Made. Welcome back to my channel. I'm excited to share how we built our DIY fireplace for our empty wall. We're starting our living room makeover, and I knew one of the projects I wanted to do in the space was a DIY fireplace to make the room feel more cozy and add a focal point. I also really have been wanting a place to hang stockings at Christmas. You can get the full tutorial, cut list, and material list on my blog, which is linked below this video in the description box. I built this fireplace to go with a 23-inch electric insert fireplace, which I will link below this video as well where I found that. Okay, let's get started. The project cost me about $550 total for both the lumber and the electric fireplace insert. I used 2x4s, 2x2s, 1x2s, 3/4 inch plywood, and cove molding for this build. Step 1 is to remove the baseboard on the wall. Brandon used our Dremel tool to cut the baseboard out of the wall where the fireplace was being installed. To remove the existing baseboard, score the top caulk line with the utility blade, then use a pry bar and hammer to remove the baseboard from the wall. Make the initial lumber cuts from the 2x4 and 2x2 framing lumber for the frame of the fireplace. Again, you can get a printable cut list on my blog linked below this video. Use a Kreg jig and add pocket holes to both sides of the middle 2x4 boards for the front and back frames. Make sure the Kreg jig is set for 1.5 inch thick wood. Then add pocket holes to the short 2x4 boards. But for these boards, you only need pocket holes on one side. Step 4 is to build the front frame of the DIY fireplace surround. Begin to construct the frame of the fireplace by attaching the 2x4 boards with pocket holes between the end boards. After attaching these boards together, I found it easiest to lay the frame down on the floor to attach the rest of the boards. Next, attach 3 of the short 3¼ inch boards into one of the end boards at the top, middle, and bottom using 2.5 inch Kreg screws. I also clamped the end 2x2 board in place as well at this point. Attach the 2x2 into the 3 boards with 2.5 inch screws. It helps to add scrap wood under the frame for this part. Also, I used self-tapping screws so no pre-drilling was needed. Repeat this process on the other side. Construct the back frame of the fireplace by attaching the 2x4 boards with pocket holes between the end boards. Attach one board 8.5 inches up from the bottom of the ends and one board along the top. Attach 4 of the sideboard frames using 2.5 inch Kreg screws into the middle boards on the back frame, 8¼ inches in from the sides as shown here. Then attach 3 of the boards along each end at the top, middle, and bottom of the end boards. At this point, I attached the back frame into the wall studs using 3-inch screws. We determined it would be easiest to build the rest of the frame while being attached to the wall. Once the back frame is secured to the wall studs, the front frame can be attached. Line up the front frame with the back frame. I used clamps to help hold everything in place, and then I used 2.5-inch screws to attach the front frame to the side frame boards. The last frame step is to install the 3 8-inch middle support 2x4s for the electric fireplace support. At this time, we did a test fit of our electric fireplace insert to make sure it was a good fit with the plug plugged in and no adjustments needing to be made. There will be 3/4-inch plywood in front of the frame, so I used some scrap wood for the test fit. The next step is to make all the plywood cuts. Again, I have a full cut list linked below this video, but it's best to measure your actual build for these measurements in case there are any slight variations based on your frame build. For the top corners of the plywood, Brandon beveled the edges using our circular saw and a straight edge guide, but a table saw or large miter saw can be used as well. Install the side plywood boards with 1 1/4-inch brad nails into the 2x4 frame. Then install the top plywood board with beveled ends on each side. Next, attach the bottom plywood board followed by the side plywood and then the top plywood with nails to finish covering the fireplace frame. After the first layer of plywood has been attached, install the second layer as shown here. Now the trim can be installed. I used 45-degree cuts for the trim corners. First, I installed the 1x2 outer trim into the plywood with a little wood glue and 1 1/4-inch brad nails. Then I installed the 2x2s with 2-inch brad nails. The last step was the cove molding, which I confirmed my measurements on these first after installing the 1x2s. Before installing the cove molding, I realized it stuck out a little over a 1/16 inch past my 1x2 edge. I didn't want to have to sand it down in our living room, so I drew a line on it where it was sticking out. Then Brandon took it outside and sanded the edge down to the line. This worked perfectly for making the 1x2 and cove molding perfectly flush with each other. I installed this with 1¼ inch brad nails into the plywood and a few 1-inch brad nails into the 1x2 trim. Step 11 is to prep the fireplace for primer and paint. There is a bit of prep work involved with all the molding and cuts on this build. We filled the nail holes in with spackle, and then we used wood filler on most of the trim seams for a seamless look. Then all of the wood filler was sanded for a smooth finish. The last prep step was caulking along the larger gaps and seams between the plywood and trim and wall. Step 12 is to prime and paint the fireplace. After the prep work was complete, the fireplace was primed and then painted with 2 coats of Simply White by Benjamin Moore. The very last step is to plug in the electric fireplace and slide it into the fireplace surround. We couldn't find anything in the directions about securing it with screws to the surround, so we just screwed ours in through some top holes we found inside of it. I absolutely love how our DIY fireplace turned out. Let me know if you have any questions below in the comments, and please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe as well. I'll be sharing more fun living room projects soon, as well as the big makeover reveal. Thanks for stopping by.